It's still broken. Here we are Monday. It's been 3 days already and this elevator is still broken. It's not working. It's broken.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's still broken. But they don't care about us.
Nope.
Here we are Monday, 3 days. Right? It just goes to show you how little they care about Mineola. I'm gonna have to start crossing over Mineola Boulevard because I don't trust this elevator. Meanwhile, if this happened in Wantsall, you know it would make the news. Nope. Still broken. But the sign is gone. Look at that, they took the sign away. The elevator's still broken, it's broken.
Oh, it's broken?
Yeah, it's still broken, see? Still broken. They don't give a crap about us in Mineola. See, the sun's trying to come out. I wonder if this one's broken now, too. It would be funny if they were both broken. Could happen. This one's working, but let's see if they cleaned it from yesterday. Or if that puke is still in there. They did clean that at least, so I'll take it down, going down.
Going down.
I don't know if they cleaned it. Let's go down. I think they did clean it. Somebody cleaned it. Probably some good Samaritan. So we don't count Mineola. It's just another example. If this happened on the South Shore, it would have been fixed, but because we're Mineola, we don't count. And a lot more people need the elevator here because this is the only way to cross. Because they never bothered putting another footbridge in on the other side. Because again, they just don't care about us. They want to ruin Mineola. They want to ruin this area. They want to redline it. And it's all part of the plan. Make things harder for people who live here. Make it less desirable. And, you know. Look at the graffiti here. I mean, they graffitied all of these. You wouldn't see that on the South Shore. So, I guess I'm going to talk about how they're making life harder for us in Mineola. This will be part of the. Next, we're going to talk about how they're closing off the Main Street crossing, and how it's going to be even harder for us to get it to the other side of the tracks here in Mineola. Like I said, I don't care. It's all part of the plan. They want to make our life harder, not easier, harder. So we're approaching the Main Street crossing, and this crossing will be closed permanently this weekend. That car did not even wait for the gates to go up fully. Alright, so this grade crossing here is going to be closed permanently. It's not going to be eliminated, it's just going to be closed permanently, and they're going to put in a pedestrian overpass that's going to include a stairwell and an elevator. The problem with that setup is what happens when the elevator breaks. That's the problem. And they actually have plenty of room here to actually put a ramp in. You know those ramps that you see in various areas that you could just walk up. Goes back and forth a couple of times. They have plenty of room for that, but they just chose not to do that. This building, still a lot of empty apartments in it. But yeah, this weekend, that's it. This crossing will be closed completely. And cars won't be able to drive through here anymore for this crossing. And if you think the street is dead now, look at it now. It's dead. It's going to be even deader once this closes. I understand why it has to be done. It's a dangerous grade crossing. But honestly, I think they should have waited until Willis was complete, the Willis underpass, but they're not. But yeah, this grade crossing here will be gone. I don't know why they couldn't have put an under. Well, this is the problem. This is why I would have just elevated the whole thing. And well, you have a whole area right here, a whole road right here. You could build a whole new elevated structure, close this road off, and then slide it into place. But they don't want to do that because that would cost more money, and you know, it's all about doing this project is all about doing it as cheaply as possible. And you could have closed off this parking lot here and built the structures and then moved them into place for the elevator tracks to run on. And it would have solved a lot of things. It would have made things more complicated and it would have cost a little more money, but it would have been better for Mineola that way. Instead, our town is being divided in two. It's very dark over here. So we have to walk all around this way. Can't even see what I'm walking on. It's so dark. They didn't put any temporary lighting in here, which is something they really should have done. So in order to get to the supermarket, this is what you got to do. I'm going to show you what you got to do. I understand why it has to be closed, because they're eliminating that grade crossing. But they should have put some light in here over here. There's Main Street crossing. Now watch, you can't even walk this way. So remember before when we walked this way? You can't even do that. Watch. Look what it says here. So there's no thought given to pedestrians when they did this. No thought at all. And again, had it been an elevated structure, you wouldn't have to dig down. I would have built this as an elevated structure for the tracks, put it in there, then you wouldn't have to do all this excavation. You know? So look at what we got to do. So it's closed here, and notice that they don't tell you. It just says please use First Street. They don't tell you exactly how to get there. So they don't tell you how to get there. This is what you got to do. So how do you get to First Street? They don't tell you how to get to First Street. This is how you get to First Street. They don't have any signs to tell people. What you got to do is you got to walk through this parking lot, and you got to walk through this dark tunnel over here. Technically it's private property, but you have to walk through here. And that's how you get to the other side. It says the whole field feels like it's just abandoned over here, doesn't it? It does. That's the point. So you can no longer. This project was done without any consideration for the people that live in Mineola. All right, none at all. And the media is not there. Of course, their new elevator has problems in Wanto. Boy, they get lots of coverage. But here, Look at what we got to deal with. Gotta watch this incline here. This is just horrible. So this is what I got to deal with if I want to go to the other side of the tracks here and go to this dinky supermarket. Not terrible, but it doesn't have everything I need. Look at what I got to deal with. I didn't even clear the snow from here. Unbelievable. Gotta be careful, don't slip on that. It's a snow regard. Why is this empty? I hope they're not closed. Hey, it's a ghost town here. Where is everybody? Look. It's only 8:30 at night. This is the scary thing about when there's no one around. If I were to fall or something would have happened to me, there's no one to help me. So let's talk about this project here and what's going on in Mineola with the highlights on upcoming construction, because as I said, the main street grade crossing is eliminated. All right, so Main Street on February 20th. All right, this is the date has been changed. It's next weekend. All right, so we click here, we'll see that this crossing here is being just closed down. All right. So actually, they did update it. It says Saturday, February 27th at 7th at 12:01, the Main Street grade crossing will permanently close to vehicular traffic. All right, so there's not going to be an underpass here. It's just going to be closed. All right, so there's no way. There's going to be no way for vehicles to drive down Main Street anymore, and there will be only one way for pedestrians. And it says here, as I zoom in, it says here, while the Willis Avenue underpass is under construction, pedestrians and vehicles will be detoured to Mineola Boulevard or Roslyn Road. Pedestrians seeking an ADA accessible route will be detoured to the Mineola Intermodal Overpass to 3rd Avenue and Station Road, where the elevator is still broken. All right. So, again, this project, it's making it harder for people to get around Mineola. And then you have this, of course, with the another shutdown again next down. I'm glad they did do the right thing and they postponed the shutdown because of the weather. But it's back next weekend, and there will be more shutdowns like it in March that we're going to have to go through as well. And I believe they did put something on the railroad site about this. Let's see if they did put it up here. I'll have to scroll through all this other stuff here, see if I can find it. I don't see anything about it. Yeah, let's see. They didn't know. They didn't really post. I don't see anything about it really on here. But I thought they did post something on here about it. But generally, what you have is this. So we have to zoom in, and you'll see what's going on here. Is that the Main Street crossing is being closed? So let me zoom in, because this is a really small print for people to read. And you'll see what's going on. So Main Street closed. This is the issue here. Main Street is closed. Willis is closed. All right. So there's no way for people to cross. And there's going to be a new pedestrian overpass being built there. All right. Let me pull this. Let me get this back to its usual size. There's going to be a new pedestrian overpass being built. So this is the map here of the vehicular traffic. And the problem is the way this is all designed is it divides Mineola up. And when we've already looked at the Willis Avenue, the Willis Avenue one. So let's go to Mineola. The Willis Avenue crossing here. Click here for permanent perfection of the future configuration of the roadway. So Willis Avenue is as I explained to you before, there's not going to be a pedestrian there's not going to be a pedestrian walkway under the bridge that when they build this. All right, and of course I can't seem to find it now, but there's not going to be a pedestrian underpass according to this. I could go and look for the. They also don't make it easy. To find out information on this site. I mean, you click Mineola, it doesn't really. All right, Willis Avenue closes, but they don't have any pictures of what it's going to look like when it's done. It's not linked in here, so it's all very, very hard to use this and to get anywhere. So let's look at what's happening here. All right, on the map. I know they have their map, but again, it's very confusing. So I'm going to draw it out to you, so you understand how this project is going to make life harder for pedestrians in Mineola. All right. Now, currently, before the project, you had grade crossings at Willis Avenue, you had grade crossings at Main Street, and you also had the stairway that went from the station house over to the other platform. But the platforms had to be relocated to the west end of the station to facilitate the work. And now you only have this one pedestrian crossing with the broken elevator that you saw in the beginning of this video. So. And that elevator is breaking because it's being strained a lot. And they should have put a temporary overpass in on the west side. All right. So now what's going on is this crossing is now closed. So this crossing will be closed out. All right. It's not going to be here anymore. All right. So if you're driving, you won't be able to drive down Main Street anymore. And this is very bad for the businesses that are here because now people are going to have to go out of their way to get to these businesses. And you can see all the vacant businesses here, too. All the empties, they're all gray. You can see that, all right? So it's just going to make life harder for the businesses. I think that I understand why the grade crossing had to go, but it should have been done differently, all right? So this grade crossing is gone, all right? There won't be any access for vehicles here to drive up Main Street. If you want to access Main Street, you're going to have to access it via 1st Avenue or 2nd Avenue. All right, so this is 2nd Street right here. You'll have to drive all the way out of the way, all right? And that's not going to be good. It's just going to make it harder for businesses to get to survive in Mineola if it's not hard enough. And if you're walking, you will have to, when you get to this spot, and let's say you want to go and you want to walk to the other side here, you're going to have to go up. Once this project is complete, there will be an overpass with an elevator. It'll probably, what happens when the elevator breaks, then you're going to have to climb up all those stairs. All right? So that's how they cut corners in this project. The second thing is Willis Avenue. All right? Willis Avenue, there is going to be an underpass for traffic that's going to keep it in that color, I guess. Traffic's going to go under the Oyster Bay line. This is going to be underpass. It's going to go both under the Oyster Bay line and under the main line. It'll be a one lane in each direction. But there will not be a sidewalk. There will not be a sidewalk in this underpass. The pedestrians will still have to deal with this. All right? We're still going to have to deal with this crossing here of the Oyster Bay line, and then we're going to have a pedestrian. You'll have to take the elevator up and then back down again or go up the stairs to get to the other side. So this makes it very hard now for people. It's basically splitting Mineola in two because now everybody in Mineola is going to have a hard time getting to Old Country Road. Everybody in this part of Mineola, let me zoom this out a little more here. Everybody in this part of Mineola here, the central part of Mineola, which is where I live, this general area right here, all right, will make it very hard to get to Old Country Road, all right? Old Country Road is over here, Garden City's over here, and it's very hard. The only ways you're going to have these, but right now we're not going to have anything. Once Main closes, and it's going to be like this for a while, we're not going to have anything here, we're not going to have anything over here, and the only way across is going to be Mineola Boulevard, or you got to go all the way to Roslyn Road, all right, or you have to take that pedestrian bridge with the elevator that's always broken. So literally we're cut off. And people want to live in walkable communities. And this is not a walkable community when you do things like that. It just makes Mineola less desirable, which is exactly what they want to do. They want to ruin this town. That's what this whole project is about. It's not about improving Mineola. It's only making our life harder. This project is all for more freight trains on the main line, more trash trains. That's why they want to build these waste transfer facilities, including one in Medford. All right, which I'll talk about in another video. All right. How should it have been done? Let's talk about how it should have been done. So we're going to go in here, and I'll show you how it should have been done. I understand space is tight here. You're not going to have room for an elevated structure where the Mineola train station is. All right, it's just not. You're not going to have room for that. All right, I understand that already. All right, but what you could do is build an elevated structure in this section. So once you get east of Mineola Boulevard, you have room to put an elevated structure in. Let's go to the street view now. We'll see what I mean here. All right, you'll notice that there's space along the tracks, first of all. You have this road right here, and then you have space along the tracks. So what I would have done, you can see there's just an old parking lot here. There's a parking lot here. This is already a little raised over here in this spot. The tracks are already raised up. So close off Hink Way. Close off Railroad Avenue. All right. I'd rather see this road closed off. Or Front Street. I think it's called Front Street or whatever. You build your elevated structure in pieces. All right. So you can construct it off-site. You can construct it on-site. And you could start work on it during one of the weekends of the shutdown. All right. So I would have had, and it wouldn't have been a dramatically high elevated structure. They still would have probably had to do a little bit of digging. But I want to keep these streets open. Main Street should not be closed off. It should not be split in two. And it should have, there should have been an underpass there. But it's because there's not a lot of room with the existing buildings, there is no room for an underpass. So it has to be an elevated structure. And so you do during one of the weekend shutdowns is you slide this elevated structure into place. You could actually wind up building it in this parking lot. You can close off this parking lot here. All right. And the railroad is already using this whole area as a staging area for the project for the, this used to be K's Auto, for the existing project. But you could build that structure here. All right. And I would elevate the Oyster Bay line too. You have plenty of room in this area to put an elevated structure. Don't tell me you don't have enough room for it. All right. Let's take a look at all the room that is available. And you can see there's actually quite a lot. And to me, they could have done it. It would have been a little more challenging engineering-wise, but it would have made a lot more sense to have the tracks elevated so these roads, first of all, can remain open. All right? You build your elevated structure and you slide it into place, or you can build it right next to the existing tracks, just like they did on the Babylon Bridge. There's actually room here. This is all a parking lot. You could put your elevated structure right here, and like I said, it doesn't have to be a huge elevated structure, but might have to still do a little excavation, possibly because of the grade. All right, but this is why you want to see an elevated structure. All right. And here, there's plenty of room here. This road here, you just close off this road. You could actually put temporary tracks in. That's what I would have done. I would have taken the tracks, would have put temporary tracks in. Sorry, Nassau Tower, it will have to go. East of the station, here like this, you put temporary tracks in along Front Street, all right, while you work on building the new structure. And because it would be an elevated structure, you just walk right under it like you're on the Babylon branch, all right? But no, that's not being done, and I know it's too late for that. It's too late for that. The plans aren't going to change. But what it is going to make is very hard for people walking back and forth between these two areas that now, in order to get across, they're going to have to go up an elevator, which may or may not be working. Otherwise, it'll be 3 flights of stairs up, then go back down again, instead of walking underneath the just underneath the tracks, which would have made a lot more sense. And again, people aren't going to want to deal with this nonsense. They want to live in walkable communities, and people often walk between here and Old Country Road. It cuts us off from the county seat, actually, because the county seat is actually on the other side. It's the county seat over here. It's over here, the county seat. So it cuts off this whole area of Mineola from the county seat, and that's what they want. This whole area here is just going to be redlined. This is all just redline, the whole thing. Just redline it. Whole thing, just redline it. Make it undesirable, this whole area here, and, just move more problems in. That's what they want to do. It's all part of the plan. So, this project is not going to make life better for Mineola. Despite what the railroad has told people in Mineola, it's a lie. And the mayor and the village isn't doing a damn thing about it. Nobody is holding the MTA's feet to the fire over all these things. So many different things going on. Between the elevator being out, between the shutdowns and no shuttle buses, see, this was the other bridge right here. This bridge is gone, all right? And then the way they did this whole project, that only have this one crossing between the two sides of one of the busiest stations on Long Island. When they built the West End platforms over here, when they built this, they should have, when they built this here, all right, so when they knocked these platforms out and they built these new extensions here west of the station, all right, sorry, it's not straight. They should have put another bridge in here. They could have actually prefabricated a bridge, even with an elevator. They've done this in the city, and installed it during one of the weekends that were shut down. But no, they didn't do that because they don't care about Mineola. This project is not about improving service for Mineola residents. It's about putting more freight trains on this railroad. The third track, they're going to be able to put more freight trains on the railroad. That's what it's all about. It's not about improving service. All right, it's not. We're going to have a nicer station. We're going to have, better infrastructure, but it's not going to be what we need, because what we really needed on the main line is what they have on the Babylon branch. All right? When you look at the towns like Lynbrook, the tracks run right through Lynbrook. But because it's an elevated structure, people can walk and drive through town. It doesn't interrupt the flow of their town at all. All right? It doesn't interrupt the flow, even though the tracks go right through. All right? They go right through the tracks, but again, it's all above ground. So again, this is what I wanted built in Mineola. This is what the main line needed, was an elevated structure, and the main line is not getting an elevated structure. And until it doesn't get it, this is just a cheap, half-assed job. This whole modernization project, it's not what we really need. Same thing for Rockville Center. It doesn't break up the town at all. Here, you can just walk right under. You don't have to go over a bridge. This is where people want to live. This is where people want to live, in walkable towns. They don't want to deal with climbing up 3 flights of stairs to get to the other side of the tracks. They're not going to do that. They're not going to move in there. Nobody's going to spend $3,000 a month in those apartments in Mineola when they could live in Avalon, Rockville Center, and be close to it all, and be in a walkable area that's safe, that has life, has good train service. They're going to want to go there. They're not going to want to go here. So this is why the South Shore is going to continue to be, the same thing. Belmore, same thing. You can actually see what looks like one of their fairs that they have in the summer. See all the people? We don't have that in Mineola. It's the same thing. Again, it's walkable. You just walk under the bridge. This is what should have been built in Mineola, this kind of structure. But as long as we don't get it, as long as we don't get what we really need, we're never going to come out of this. And I hate to be the downer on it, but this project, this third track project, is only going to contribute to the downfall of Mineola and not save it. That what we really needed was this. We needed the elevated structure so our town can function. But instead, what we are getting is basically a wall through Mineola that is going to make it harder for people to get around Mineola. Not easier, but harder. All right? Because now you have closed off access to Main Street. You have closed off temporarily access to Wills Avenue. And even if you are, who would want to live in this building that they built here? Let's say you want to go to the other side here. Let's say you want to go to Davenport Fresh. You're going to have to go. Nobody's going to want to do that. You can't cross. You're going to have to go up and over a thing just to get across to the other side. Morgan Parc. And what if you want to? What if you want to go to the train station? You still have to cross this road here, which is dangerous. And then what if you want to What if you live in the other complex over here? They have it even worse. This one that they built over here, Fairfield Metro, and you're not gonna have to just to get to Old Country Road. You gotta go through a whole. Nobody wants this. Nobody's going to pay a premium for inconvenience when they can live places that have much more convenience. And that's why there's always going to be vacancy in Mineola, and it's just never going to improve. And unfortunately, the village did not stand up for its residents. We should have demanded an elevated structure, but I know it's too late. It really is too late. I want to be wrong. I would love to see Mineola improve. But the fact is that our area is being redlined. Even the hospital here, I've noticed street lights out in the parking lot here in the hospital. All right, let me clear this out of here. Let me get this out of here. I've noticed street lights out in the hospital as well. And this hospital's here, and, you know, I'm not going to knock the hospital, but obviously that their lot could look a lot better. All right, this is their lot right here, all right? I mean, these street lights are out here, all right? You know, it's this building looks kind of old too. It still says Winthrop on this, but now it's Mount Sinai. All right. I mean, now it's not Mount Sinai. It's NYU Langone, Long Island. All right. So you cut off from Garden City, you know. So all the town that does have the stuff, you're gonna have to drive there, or you're gonna have, you know, people just want to live where they can walk to this stuff and not. You know, especially the people moving out of the city. They don't want to deal with this. They're not going to move to Mineola. No, they're not going to do that. Let's compare it to Mount Sinai, South Nassau, which is very fancy. So you see how much better they have it on the South Shore. Look at this. Look at how clean everything is, how well kept everything is. Look at that. That's what they get because it's the South Shore. I mean, our hospital's kind of run down looking, to be honest. Only the best. So there you go. This is what we're up against, folks. And again, I'll end it like this. Long Island is a great place to live, and I'm grateful to live on Long Island. But things are getting harder for us in the middle of the island. And what happens eventually when it's just like Jamaica? What happens when Jamaica is the whole middle of the island? Because that's what's happening. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan to make the quality of life decline in these neighborhoods, in these neighborhoods in the middle of the island. It's all part of that plan. They want to have the life decline in these middle of the island areas because they want to drive us out. These are largely the more diverse areas of Long Island, and they're being redlined. And you have to be a certain demographic to live in the safe neighborhoods that are on the South Shore, which is where everybody wants to live. Everybody wants to live on the South Shore. All right, when people come out of the city and look for homes, they're looking on the South Shore. They're not looking in Mineola, New Hyde Park, Westbury, Hicksville. They're not looking in those neighborhoods. Vast majority of them want houses on the South Shore because they want to live somewhere that is safe, that has convenient access to transportation, that is walkable because they're from the city. So they want those things. And so there's high demand for these areas, which drives up the prices in them. And, you know, real estate's all behind this stuff. They want to do this because this way only a certain demographic will be able to afford to live in areas with improving quality of life, right? You take a look at the quality of life in various areas of Long Island. Where has it gone downhill? It's gone downhill in Mineola. It's gone down in Carl Place. It's gone downhill in Westbury. It's gone downhill in New Hyde Park. It's gone downhill in Floral Park. Certainly continuing to go downhill in Hempstead. All right? Hicksville. Quality of life is going downhill in Farmingdale, too. Bethpage. Wyandanch. Deer Park for sure. Brentwood, Central Islip. It's always going downhill there. And parts of the North Shore, too, are going downhill, the quality of life as well. And quality of life in places like Manhasset is going downhill. They've lost a lot of stores over there. All right? But guess where quality of life has improved? Or at least stayed the same? Belmore, Merrick, Rockville Center, Lynbrook. Those businesses are doing great, and there are new businesses opening there, even though we're in a pandemic. Wantor, Seaford, Massapequa. Even Amityville and Copeg have some new businesses opening up. Lindenhurst, West Islip, Babylon. It's all, the South Shore is the center of commerce now on Long Island. And the middle is just becoming a wasteland. And I know we've got a little off topic on this video. I apologize, but this is all part of the bigger plan that I'm trying to talk about. Because if you're a forest green piney like me, all right, I'll put a P there, all right, you're not going to be allowed to live here in these areas. They're not going to let you live here. You're stuck with a declining quality of life. And eventually that quality of life will be just as bad as it is in Jamaica. And then you say to yourself, well, I can't take it anymore. I can't deal with feeling unsafe. Where am I going to go? I'm not allowed to live in these areas, so I'm going to have to go leave Long Island and live somewhere like New Jersey, which is no picnic. It's no picnic in Toms River, but it is safe there. It is safe, and there isn't any really huge barriers to pedestrians, although it's not great. It's not great. It's worse than Long Island in many ways. One thing you're not going to have is the dumping of criminals in your area. You're not going to have that kind of nonsense going on. And if you need to get to the Pine Barrens, well, you can just walk there. Pine Barrens are right here. If you live along Route 9 in a central area, you can take the Route 9 bus and it'll take you to all the supermarkets and everything. It's not great. It's harder than Long Island. But it may, like I said, this is part of the plan. They want us in Toms River. They want us in New Jersey. They want to purge us out. This is all part of the plan to force the middle class out. Because what you're doing is you're taking the areas that are safe and you're making them much more expensive for a certain demographic. On the South Shore and maybe parts of the North Shore too. All right, I'll put the North Shore in, even though I think the South Shore gets treated the best. All right, so they have the good life on the South Shore. All right, but you're not going to be allowed to live there because it's for a certain demographic, and your quality of life declines. Your quality of life in the middle of the island gets worse, and you have more homeless around, you have more vacant stores, you have more crime going on, and it's a take it or leave it situation because your area is more diverse, so it's not connected to the politics. All the problems are getting dumped in your area, and you're ignored. And that's what you see in this video with the railroad not fixing that elevator. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of this bigger plan that's going on. And yeah, sure, Long Island is a great place to live now. But what happens when it turns into Jamaica? What happens when this whole area becomes Jamaica 2.0? And it's happening. Trust me. If you don't think so, walk around the middle of the island and see. Walk around. Not just drive around, but walk around. And see how much harder it is as a pedestrian, between the snow, between everything. While the South Shore gets everything taken care of. All right? They want us out. And this is why we're in the fight of our lives here. And I'm going to keep talking about this kind of crap because I want to stay on Long Island. I don't want to live in New Jersey. You know that. But it gets to the point where I start having to deal with what my colleague from Andy from NYC has to deal with. That's not something I can take. And if that's my only option for life on Long Island, then obviously I have to leave. So that's going to be it for this video. Take care. Thank you for watching.